August 2nd, 2025, Intel Drop 67, The Cosmic Rules Are About to Change, Part 7. It's good to talk to you again. How are you doing?
I am healthy and safe, with God's grace.
I'm glad to hear that. Yesterday we had a great discussion that lasted a few hours. I think we'll go over various current events here, then post our previous discussion on the spiritual topics we covered, probably in a Part 1 and Part 2 format.
Very good. Please proceed.
We're a little shaken up after the last Intel drop. I received a death threat. A couple of our supporters reported more censorship. My Twitter was shadow banned again, and our Telegram chat was inundated with agent disruptions and attacks. Quite a week. This feels like a serious escalation.
It is an escalation. The Cabal now knows I am working with additional whistleblowers. They do not want the information I am obtaining to be widely dispersed or believed, so suppression and disruption techniques are expected. The Cabal's objective with us has always been containment of our information, and thus far, they have been successful in that.
We're getting more from these new sources. How much can you talk about that, and are we prepared to release more material?
We are working with 2 new whistleblowers, both with access to Obsidian. We have photos and now a video showing the software. In our last Intel drop, we released the first photo. I am first seeking their permission on what else I can release, and deciding when and how to release it.
There's some hesitation on their part. What's going on?
They both feel their lives are at risk, and they are not keen on releasing more information that could bring great risk upon them if the information ends up suppressed or censored. I entirely empathize with that. We will try to come up with a way to release it so it receives some attention, through new social media accounts and video channels we will set up. We will also need our supporters to help too.
I get where they're coming from. It doesn't feel good to risk everything, only to have the public ignore it.
No, it does not. If anything we release is tied back to them, they will suffer severe consequences. They want the public to see the evidence, but they are concerned not enough people will see it for it to be worth the risk.
I fully understand, but our team will eventually see the evidence. Is that right?
Yes. If we do not proceed with a public release, we will provide it to our team on our private page. They agreed to that.
Good. Now, there's something else I want to get into here that I think has to do with the nanotech. Are you ready for a deep dive into this?
I am.
Okay, I posted a couple of tweets. First, from a supporter of ours who said he talked to a conspiracy-minded friend of his about our Intel drops, someone who he thought was sure would be open to these topics. This person didn't disbelieve them. He didn't say the Intel drops weren't true. He just didn't care, which was surprising and frustrating for our supporter. I also posted a retweet of another person on Twitter who posted an excellent synopsis of the coming reset. While they didn't include our information, it was still a very good overview of the Cabal's agenda. In the replies, dozens of people responded who dismissed it, didn't care, they were sarcastic, dismissive, acted like we're already tracked, who cares, and so on. So I'm seeing this all over, that nobody cares about these issues. Do you think this is related to the nanotech, the activation?
Yes, this is a clear indication the nanotech is being activated and tested. There is a vast change in society happening right now. People are not the same. I am seeing it too.
This isn't the vaccinated population we're talking about here. We're talking about people who probably didn't take the COVID shots. They probably know about the World Economic Forum. They know about central bank digital currencies and so on. And they don't care. The people we need to fight this don't care.
I have warned of this for years now, because of what the nanotech will do to people once activated.
These people on Twitter, who all seem so dismissive, did the Cabal target them individually?
Very likely, because we believe we are in a testing phase. The Cabal is probably targeting a specific type of person who is active on Twitter, probably to induce others to dismiss these issues, especially those relating to digital IDs and CBDCs.
Do you think some of these people are just agents trying to distract and demoralize?
No. Judging by the various accounts you showed me, these appear to be real people, not agents. I did see a handful of possible agents within those comments, but the vast majority are normal people. Your instincts were correct to be concerned.
Something else that is very odd is that around early May, people abruptly stopped filling out our team application form. Almost completely stopped. Before then, we would have a steady flow of people over the previous months. While only a few of those people were added to our team, we still helped those who couldn't be added to our team with our USDR pool program, which operates as a secondary team. So either way, most people who applied we could help. Seeing it all stop was strange. It makes me wonder if some kind of activation happened then that targeted people actually viewing our intel drops. Could the Cabal do that?
Between Obsidian and their AI, yes, they could find out who is viewing the intel drops and activate them. It may explain what you are referring to. We did not add hardly anyone new to our team since early May. The abrupt change was noticeable.
People not caring would explain it, and that seems to be the root of it, this passivity, this lack of caring. If the Cabal really did that, it's heinous. This nanotech is powerful.
It is. That is why the antidote to it is so important.
Since the Cabal might be able to find who is reading our intel drops and activate them, could they do that to you or me or our team?
Very unlikely, because we are all using careful obfuscation techniques. Our team has been instructed on what to do. Even if someone on our team made a small mistake or did not follow all of the advice we gave, they are probably still safe if enough steps were followed. The people who are not on our team, who are casually viewing our intel drops, would be far more at risk because they have not taken the steps and techniques I have recommended privately to our team. In other words, the Cabal could find them, identify them, and then activate them. Now, we do not know if this actually happened, but it is possible.
Something is going on, just how quiet everything seems. People are gone. As you said, the Cabal already eliminated a lot of people. Do you think eliminations could lead to the drop-off in those signing up for our team and abrupt drop in intel drop views that happened in May?
There may have been a purge at that time. There are fewer quarantined people alive with each passing month. The whistleblowers confirmed that. The amount of quarantined people in Obsidian keeps dropping due to apparent deaths, which are always listed as natural causes in Obsidian. We believe it is not just natural causes at play here. Obviously, these people are being targeted and killed.
Are restricted accounts dropping off?
Restricted accounts are actually growing worldwide. There is a major difference between restricted and quarantined individuals. The quarantined individuals are the biggest risk to the Cabal. They pose the most danger. Restricted individuals are less a risk. I would regard them more as people the Cabal wishes to keep alive and punish, and force into using Obsidian. Interestingly enough, most of our team were quarantined when we changed their accounts to Sovereign, about 80%, with 20% being restricted, so that tells you the strongest people against this were motivated to join us. They are protected now.
Incredible. And things just dropped off a cliff at the start of May, so that's when it happened, whatever the Cabal did. Michael said all the data we have lines up with something happening around that time.
I can do some investigation into that time frame and see if I can come up with anything. I will ask the whistleblowers if they saw a quarantine status purge at that time too.
If you can, please do. How does your guide feel right now about the state of our team?
She is concerned we do not have enough people, or enough people in specific geographic areas. I have told her I think we will manage. We are a few dozen strong. It is not enough, but there is nothing we can do about that at this point. The Cabal's suppression techniques have worked, and between the nanotech activating and the quarantined purge, there may be very few people left suitable for our team.
Do you think there will be people who read this intel drop who are activated, but they won't consciously know it?
It is very possible, especially since it can take 1 to 2 weeks for the activation to fully come into effect. It is not instant, but by the time a person is fully activated, that person would probably completely lose interest in the intel drops or the issues we are discussing. This, as you referenced, could explain the sharp drop-off intel drop views in early May, a drop of about 1,000, and it has remained that way. That means a fairly large portion of readership simply vanished at a certain point in time and did not return. It is also worth noting that the time between Intel Drop 61 on April 28th and Intel Drop 62 on May 12th is about 2 weeks. A coordinated activation of our readership, along with a quarantined purge, could explain the anomalous drop-off of about 1,000 people.
I wonder if that was about everyone the Cabal could identify, because I can't imagine they could identify every single person viewing the intel drops. but maybe 20 or 30% they could?
Correct. If I had to guess, I would put it right at those numbers. Using Obsidian and their best AI, looking at traffic, especially at those who do not use VPNs, they could identify a certain percentage, but certainly not everyone.
If this is really true, it's terrifying, but I believe it's true. We know the nanotech is real and we know an activation is going to happen. We know it's being tested. We can also see, even outside our intel drops, something strange is going on out there in the world of alternative media, among truth seekers. People are just utterly passive and don't care. It's shocking.
It is, and the activation explains it.
All right, I'll move on to some news topics. I just want to recap all that. I also heard someone say the nanotech isn't proven, but it is proven, from plenty of outside sources. It amazes me how people don't do research. The nanotech has been found in the blood of the non-vaccinated. Dr. Group, for one, is someone who has proven it.
It is confirmed, it is not in doubt at all. It has been found by multiple sources and found in the non-vaccinated, which proves it is not COVID vaccine-related nanotech. It is what I said 2 years ago, nanotech placed in the food supply.
All right, I'm going to move on now to the news.
Go on.
I feel like a lot of your comments about Epstein in the last Intel drop actually came to pass, almost within days after our Intel drop was released. You said the narrative would shift to blaming the Democrats, and within days of that, Trump goes ballistic on Obama over Russiagate, completely out of the blue. Now, Ghislaine Maxwell seems to be being brought into the mix, and as you said, a pardon will be on the table. Whoever your sources are in D.C., they were on point.
They were. I believe more will come from this story. The drama will continue. And at this point, I am wondering if the cabal is allowing it to become a distraction. So many people are focused on it, the media continues to report on it, while ignoring the Genius Act and other horrible things the Trump administration is doing. It is starting to look like a controlled distraction.
I agree, the issue is important, but it's consuming people and there's no real answers forthcoming. I wanted to mention that RFK Jr. is making some inroads removing bad products from vaccines, like the Marisol. You had an interesting take on this. Please explain.
Yes, the cabal is directing this. They do not care at all if certain poisons are removed from the vaccines, because the nanotech is already installed in every human. The purpose of the vaccines now is to still cause damage, kill people, and make money. But the cabal does not mind if some of them are phased out, or public skepticism grows against them. RFK's job now is to instill some sense of hope that the Trump administration is doing good things. It is a deception. We know RFK Jr. is now sovereign status and probably blackmailed into it. Meanwhile, the same Trump administration is fighting to keep fluoride in the public water and ensure everyone uses a so-called health tracking wearable, which will directly tie into Obsidian.
I see it all, just all these token gestures, while the Trump administration does 20 other things to further the agenda. You literally said 7 months ago that it's all window dressing, just to distract his supporters, which is exactly how it's played out.
Unfortunately, it has, because the entire Trump administration is full of Kabbalists and sovereigns.
I don't spend much time on what's going on with the UK, EU, Canada, Australia, or the Asian or South American countries, because they're all fully on board with the New World Order. Everything they do is in service of the agenda, and tons of them are actually installing digital IDs as we speak, just a precursor to Obsidian. It seemed like the United States might be a beacon of hope of resistance, but it's really not.
It is not. The U.S. is actually very weak in terms of resistance. The public there is captured. The so-called freedom-loving country is one of the world's biggest police and surveillance states, something being accelerated dramatically by the Trump administration in preparation for Obsidian and AI. I will add, the law enforcement arms of the U.S. government are pernicious and utterly devoid of any moral compass. They will target the good and cover up for the bad, which we see with Epstein. Americans are already being targeted, and they will be increasingly targeted by their own government.
I agree. Lastly, Trump's executive order basically pushing the homeless into internment camps or asylums. Everything you said about the ICE and immigration efforts are absolutely to imprison restricted and quarantined people. There's tons of reports of American citizens being detained. It's surreal.
It is happening. They are preparing for what is to come. While many, or even most, will end up activated, I said earlier that I believe the cabal wants to punish restricted individuals. I think they want to set up camps and scare them and take their freedoms, simply because they can. Possibly even if they end up activated, the Cabal will do it regardless if they are. They may also do experiments on them in these camps.
At this point, I think we'll just move on to our previous conversation. We know what they're doing. It's obvious to anyone paying attention, and there's so many confirming stories every day, I can't even keep up with it.
The Cabal is less and less concerned that people figure out what they are doing, which points to a certain confidence they have. That confidence is explained by the nanotech in all of us. They know it is already in all of us.
All right, we'll close this discussion and post our previous one. I have a few things I want to ask you about. Part 2, the cosmic rules are about to change. Part 7. I was reading through our past entries in this series, and one that stood out to me is Part 3. It's worth reading. In it, you said, if you eat this food, if you eat it, it will open you up to demonic invasion. And that invasion will come through the AI. I cannot emphasize more how dangerous the AI will be once coupled with the nanocrystal vaccines people will be eating. This was 2.5 years ago, and I think now, with the nanotech being activated and with AI having advanced so much, it's completely confirmed. Where do we stand now?
We stand probably at a point where the plan is about halfway to 2/3 complete.
In Part 5, about 1.5 years ago, you said, the Cabal's focus is now on people like you and me and those who read our intel drops, people who are sort of waking up. They want to control those people. Another point in which you called it perfectly. I feel like Elon and X had a lot to do with that. All those people are now contained within that control vector, and now people just care less and less, indicating they've been activated.
I would agree with that. The Cabal really focused on bringing the truth seekers under control and containment over the past year, and it worked.
I wanted to reference a couple of the past series entries. I think so much of what you said has been confirmed, and we're going exactly in the direction you described. Exactly. The big spiritual questions that remain are with the astral realm, life after death, and the Cabal's longer-term plans. There's also the possibility of major disasters and earth changes. What's your status report today?
Much of what I know now is informed by dozens of discussions with my guide, who has helped correct me when I was wrong and gave me a lot of insight to how the Cabal is operating. When we speak of things from a spiritual point of view, she says mankind has never been this deceived, this close to being completely doomed by a trajectory that puts the Cabal in complete and total control of not only our lives, but our souls. We are nearing the end stage, which is the year 2030, and we are on track for a complete takeover of the human soul and human free will. We must stop this.
We talked before about how you think the Cabal is more focused on the next life, the afterlife, the astral plane, than what's going on here on Earth, and that surprised and alarmed you. Do you have any updates on that?
Yes, it is quite odd. The Cabal's global agenda does not appear to extend beyond the year 2032. My guide has only hinted to me that a major event is coming, one she does not feel I am ready to know yet.
Did she say she will reveal it to you in time, so you can do something about it?
Yes, she did. She also said if we, as a team, do not destroy Obsidian after it is online, then the entire plan will come to fruition. The end point is 2032. We will have a few years to act at most.
We've reported on this for over 2 years, and it's now becoming more widely discussed, which is this idea of an astral net or trap, where we can't just leave and go to God after death. More people are talking about it, but at the same time, people reject it and say we can just leave if we ask, or if we will ourselves to God. Please address this.
There is a mountain of evidence that those who die, who enter the so-called white light and meet loved ones and guides, are being manipulated and deceived. This is actually becoming more accepted, and people are realizing one should not go into the light after death. However, there are also many near-death experiences that are far more nuanced and bizarre, suggesting the realm beyond is capable of tailoring experiences so convincing, so incredible, even the most skeptical soul could be trapped and lured into these experiences. I would advise we must remain skeptical of everything we experience after death, resist everything and only seek God, our Creator, and reject any false gods that appear. It seems in this realm false gods are proliferate and common, and can appear convincing as well. But this is only the welcoming period. Once that passes, we move on to the astral earth, similar to this one, with different physics, telepathy between souls, and a dystopian control environment beyond anything imaginable here. This is what the Cabal is focused on, and there was a war there too, something I can give some updates on.
I want updates on that, adding it to my notes to ask you about later. But all this reminds me of Star Trek V, The Final Frontier, where Kirk meets God and God wants his starship, and Kirk keeps asking, what does God need with a starship? Very interesting scene. Kirk questions this God and he's revealed not to be a true God, but just a false God. And it's not the only time Star Trek has addressed these issues. In an episode of Star Trek Voyager, Captain Janeway confronts a spirit telling her to go into the light, who turns out to be Manipulator. She challenges him. There's also many movies that address these things, from The Matrix, Dark City, They Live, The 13th Floor, Albert Brooks' Defending Your Life, where he dies and experiences all the manipulation on the other side. Does the Cabal let us know the truth this way?
They do. Many hidden messages are contained in Hollywood films. They all point to the same conclusion. The next life after this one, when we pass, is part of a continued manipulative construct.
Are we in a matrix or simulation?
Well, it has been determined our so-called 3D reality uses rendering techniques literally similar to those used by a graphics card in a computer, like an NVIDIA card. The rendering of what we see only happens when we look at it, and when we are not observing, it would appear as probably an empty space of code, or potential realities yet to be rendered. This is called the observer effect. So, the presence of souls in this reality is what causes it to exist, or render. But it is really immaterial to the questions we face. We are souls within a construct, and when we die, we move on to a higher dimensional construct, but we are still not with God yet after death.
How do we get past this astral net?
My guide says with great difficulty. There is electromagnetism at play, and while souls are immortal, they can be contained, captured, and controlled by enormous forces of electromagnetism, by billions of volts of electricity. This is quite horrifying to ponder. My guide also said our souls and our intentions, our desires, our free will also matters. But if we can be deceived, we can be controlled, and deception comes in many forms. We might find ourselves in a beautiful, placid, colorful field of flowers after death, believing we are in paradise. And this would be part of the deception.
Mind-blowing to me. Has Christianity been destroyed by the Cabal? Can we still find redemption in Christ?
The truths remain. But CERN's desecration of the Bible, the changing of Scripture, is a vile sin. My guide said it angered God, but he did not step in to stop it, because as I have said, the Cabal already laid claim to Earth by arguing humans have submitted and agreed to all of this evil.
I'll move on here in my notes. I noticed Gene Nolan of the Inspired channel, which is a huge channel posting things about all kinds of alternative subjects. He just posted a video about the so-called Afterlife soul trap. I watched it, and I think it's a decent overview. He's also common status on our Gatekeeper list, so he's not considered a threat by the Cabal. Is he trustworthy?
Have you seen what he is selling?
No.
Visit some of the links he is promoting. One is for FLFE, or Focused Life Force Energy. He is selling monthly subscriptions. Now visit the FAQ they provide and tell me what the product is. I will await for you to check the link I'm providing.
Okay, I'm going there now. Sorry, Tor is slow.
Take your time.
Okay, it's loading. I'm reading through this. So, there's two sites. One looks like Gene's promotional site and their main website. What is this?
Keep reading. Tell me if you can find the actual product that is being provided.
Well, okay, there's nothing. Is it a device? I don't see anything. Does it use a phone? Yes and no. What is this then? They're selling something, but what?
It appears they are not selling any actual device. I can only see they have an office and claim to project some kind of energy to your location. I will let readers make their own conclusions, but it would not surprise me if he is soon listed as a provisional sovereign in Obsidian.
Right, I'm reading this site, and other than lots of sales and subscriptions and affiliate sales and high-paid positions if they hire you, and selling points, they don't explain a damn thing about what you're buying.
Again, I would advise readers refer to our Gatekeeper list. So far, it has been accurate. A common status person in alternative media is not a threat to anything, even though Gene posts many videos that one would assume expose the Cabal in some way.
Early on, 3 years ago, Gene and Frank Jacob did a couple of videos on us and supported us initially. Then they turned on us. I feel like no one can be trusted anywhere, especially the bigger channels. If a channel has hundreds of thousands of subscribers, you told me it can't be trusted.
Anything of that size is controlled by the cabal, without exception. If you are subscribed to an alternative media channel of that size, you need to question what you are doing.
I'm sorry, but after reading those sites, I'm very suspicious of whatever FLFE is. I don't know what they're projecting at my house. It's not explained. It's all vague, and it's all sales and selling.
He may simply have a money motivation, and now the cabal sees that and sees him as a candidate to join them. I would suspect that.
All right, it's just a lesson in all this. Things aren't what they seem. Seems like Gene has a good channel, but you showed me right away what he's selling is suspicious. All right, back to my notes. What about Earth changes? You warned to watch the weather, and the weather has definitely been bizarre. A lot of summer flooding.
Weather manipulation is ongoing. I suspect the cabal will initiate events to coincide with the collapse. Watch for major earthquakes. Outside of that, I do not have any further intel on it at this time that I am going to disclose publicly.
I'm getting off track here. We have to get back to the spiritual questions. Sometimes I wonder if the nanotech is affecting me. I feel really off-center lately, personally, just internally. I don't feel at ease. Even if the nanotech isn't activated, does it affect us?
It does. What you are feeling is likely a side effect of the non-activated nanotech. Listen to society and the world. People are complaining of all kinds of health complications and mental issues. It is everywhere. I believe it is the nanotech affecting them throughout their bodies, even if it is not activated.
Let's say I get activated. Will you know?
We have an invasive nanostructure within our cells slowly growing its tentacles throughout our bodies. Most important, the nanotech fuses with our cells, the interior of our cells, and then becomes symbiotic with their operation. The antidote tells the nanotech to disassemble, return the cell to its natural state, and exit the body. Now, if you try to use a natural detox method, if the nanotech is stripped out or disturbed, the person would either die or become very sick. There is no way to detox from it. The activation, though, is key. The activation turns the nanotech on, where it begins to influence the mind, the body, even the soul. The activation takes place with Starlink and other satellites. It can also be triggered with 6G towers. So, once the cabal decides to fully bring it online, then the situation becomes grim. That has not happened yet, but clearly they are testing it on an individual basis, targeting specific people.
Let's say I get activated. Will you know?
Yes, your behavior would change dramatically, and we have discussed the steps we would have to take.
Right, I'd be removed from the team and blocked from sensitive areas. Do you think I would turn on you, expose you?
It is possible, but I have given you instructions on what to do if you are activated. I trust your will is strong enough to resist long enough to follow those steps. We believe activation is gradual, so once activated, a person has a window to make decisions, possibly a window of about 1 or 2 weeks that they are still of sound mind.
Just for those reading, please reassure them you are not talking about suicide for me if I'm activated.
I am not talking about that, and I would never advise that. In your situation, the steps would involve how to block the activating signals using Faraday cages, Faraday lining on your interior walls, turning off all EMF-emitting electronics, staying inside, going underground if you can, blocking the signals. It would also involve you removing yourself from the team fully, divesting your access to emails and so on. We have already arranged this if it happens to you and others on our team.
We have, but everything I had to do isn't practical for normal people. It's unbelievable preparation, and it's not even foolproof or certain it will work. I've done it for our team. What about the rest of our team? What if they get activated?
I will be providing some steps for them. Right now, the risk is minimal. My guide assured me, on a certain level, we are divinely protected. But of course, I still have concerns. Those most at risk right now are you, myself, Michael, a few others on our team who are the most exposed, the ones whose identities the cabal has tried the hardest to determine. Remember, if they cannot determine who we are, they cannot activate us during the testing phase, right now. Since we are sovereign, we will get the antidote before the full worldwide activation. We will be safe by then. Our initial obfuscation techniques that we used when we first released our information in 2022 was key in protecting us. We never deviated from any of those techniques. I think the Cabal and agents are a bit frustrated because of it. I think the death threat you received is an example of that. That agent may be trying to ply favor with the Cabal, but they got banned from our Telegram group and probably failed in their objectives. They looked very angry.
They were awful person, seething hatred. It's posted in our Telegram group if anyone wants to look. Not that I'd advise wasting your energy on him. This is what we deal with, though. It's been 3 years of it.
It is taxing, but they have not won or defeated us, but they will not stop trying.
Back to my notes. The war in the astral realm, you talked about this in previous entries. You said the vaccinated were killed off so they could help the Cabal fight this war on the other side. What's an update on that?
The war was won by the Cabal. The influx of vaccinated souls helped tip the balance. There was an effort by God to send souls to try to break through the outer grid, keeping people trapped in this astral earth. They tried to break through and pull souls out, but they were stopped and defeated by the army of vaccinated souls who began showing up during and after COVID. This is what my guide told me. Since there is telepathy on the other side, it was more a battle of words, wits, and psychology than a battle of weapons. The realm is different from here. People cannot die again, but they can find themselves trapped within a dystopian system. If you reject it, the Cabal has ways to deal with you. It is different from here, but structured like society here. They do not need money, need to have sex, need to even breathe air, but these things are done anyway, and still serve a purpose.
I think what's amazing is how true all that is when you look at how society has changed since COVID. This may be why, as you say, so many of the brainwashed are gone and dead, while those left are way more awake, aware, and conspiracy theories are no mainstream. Tucker Carlson is talking conspiracy theory, Joe Rogan, Alex Jones is now more popular, it's normalized. Trump sort of normalized it, so everything adjusted. The vaxxed were cleared out. Now the alternative thinking people have taken over, but as you said, they're all still totally controlled.
Yes, a major transition took place because so many vaccinated souls departed this earth due to the COVID poison shots. They are gone. Now, the Cabal had to deal with those left over, those who resisted, and we do see they have been captured, though it is not apparent to them.
I shouldn't go too overboard here. There's tons of vaccinated people still alive and still with influence throughout major social institutions. They're still just as brainwashed as ever.
They are, and not all have died. By 2030, about 80% will be dead and will move on to serve the Cabal in the next life.
Do you know what the vaccinated soul will experience once captured by the Cabal on the other side?
That is an excellent question. My guide says there is a similar obsidian structure there, very similar, such as a social credit system, and the vaccinated souls are offered USDR, nice homes, and social status. She said virtually every single one of them happily accepts these offers because they are all completely devoid of God, non-believers many of them, and value authority. On the other side, authority reigns unlike anything here, and many are impressed by the control and structure. It is similar to China, but more like some dystopian Hollywood films. I was told a little bit like Minority Report and the Blade Runner films mixed together.
Now, if a non-vaccinated, non-activated person dies, what will they experience?
It varies widely. My guide says they will be bombarded with deceptions, tailored to their personality and life experience. Once they go through that process, if they do not strongly resist it, they will find themselves in the astral earth, in a lower tier of that society, having to follow rules and subject to the similar restrictions of Obsidian restricted and quarantined classes.
I had someone message me saying they don't think the astral earth is real, and that when we die, we go straight to Jesus and heaven. What do you say to those people who are skeptical?
I would say if we as humanity had not fallen so deeply into sin, that is exactly what would happen after death. But we have fallen, and the greatest deception has been the lie that Satan has no power on the other side. No realm, no influence, only here. No, he resides in the afterlife too, and he has his own realm, the astral earth, that overlays earth, just in a higher dimension. I would also advise those reading not to take my opinions as gospel truth on these matters. Please do your own research, look into the soul trap, and learn more about near-death experiences. Then reach your own conclusions. I am simply imparting not only my guide's information, but also information from other sources, some of whom were government intelligence operatives with classified information. Some of that classified information pertained to the afterlife, something the government has a great deal of interest in. The whistleblowers have also seen things in Obsidian that pertain to the afterlife, though indirectly, and all of it informs us of the broader picture that we do indeed go to a dystopian astral Earth, ultimately, if we are not able to escape.
Thank you for explaining all that. You've told me talking about this doesn't take away from our mission, so people shouldn't get wrapped up in it.
What I mean is, when it comes to issues like this, we all have strong opinions and beliefs. I am not here to preach these things. Our focus is on destroying Obsidian. That is what matters. Furthermore, no one truly knows what awaits us after death. Only God knows. My prayer and hope is that none of this is true, and we will meet our Lord and Savior when we pass. But I am afraid it is not that simple. There are great tests that will still wait for us when we pass.
I think there are. I've looked enough into these near-death experiences that I'm convinced these people are being totally deceived and manipulated. Totally. Yes, their stories are usually amazing, usually full of hope, but if you look closely, something's really, really wrong. For one thing, these people who die never question a damn thing they are shown on the other side. It's like they're drugged. When I die, I'm going to be like Kirk in that Star Trek movie. I'm going to demand answers.
Well, we may think that, but in passing, we will feel and see something so incredible it will overwhelm us. Our souls will be free, at least momentarily. Remember, 2 Corinthians 11:14 says Satan will appear as an angel of light.
Oh, I'm mindful. Last week you told me actually to go read the Bible, namely Revelation. I had to find an old Bible. You wouldn't let me just pick up a new one, we know why. I was moved in reading some of the passages. It is truly the Word of God, but it's been distorted so much. Now, my question here is, what do you say to people who reject religion completely, including Christianity?
I do not blame them. The church is corrupt. Religion is often used as a tool of control. We know the cabal has infiltrated it. So, skepticism is warranted, but we should not seek religion. We should seek God, in my view.
I'll be direct. If a person accepts Obsidian as a common, restricted, or quarantined class person and just goes along with it to survive, what happens to their soul?
My guide said they will then belong to the cabal. My guide also warned the mark is coming, the mark of the beast. She has not said what it will be, but it is coming.
They belong to the cabal. I can't even imagine how horrible it's going to be stuck in that position. Now you can go off-grid. What are the options there?
Limited. The cabal knows people will go off-grid. The cabal can intervene quite easily to deal with those people. Tracking them is effortless. Drones can be sent out to any encampment. The issue, though, is the nanotech. Once activated, these people aren't going to go off-grid. They are going to acquiesce. The cabal already planned everything in advance on this. They are not going to need to use a lot of force to enforce Obsidian. Some, but not a lot. The nanotech will do the work for them, distorting people's minds and perceptions and emotions through the activation, through Starlink. Remember I said cybernetics is at play here. The nanotech can change us in a physical way, once activated. Within 2 or 3 years after activation, the human body could be partly robotic, partly machine. This sounds fantastical, impossible, but it is not at all. It is fully possible, and entirely the modus operandi of the cabal.
It's horrifying, but it's reality, and it's coming. I wish people would truly wake up. Now, another point of view here is some will say, okay, I'll accept Obsidian, but they can't have my soul. Maybe a person will decide to fight on after they die, to fight this. What about that?
There is the issue of the mark, which they will one day face. There is the issue that the nanotech also seems to have some way to attach to the soul. So, let us hypothetically look at your scenario. I would say that person, who accepts Obsidian but is personally against it, will face deep challenges in the afterlife, after death. That is where this is leading, and why the cabal seems more focused on the after-death issues. It worries me that by 2032 our world could be unrecognizable. I do not know where we will stand then. Our mission as a team is paramount. We must prevent this outcome.
I know. We will. We have to. This is so evil. We can't let this happen to the world. It's over if it does. Over for everyone.
This is not science fiction. This is what is coming.
Do people not get they're going to cut off internet access and demand you provide your ID before you can surf the net again? I think they're going to turn it all off. I think VPNs will get banned. Once that happens, every single thing you do online will go right into your Obsidian social score. They're already working on all of this. Now, you said there's a catalyst.
An event or series of events are coming. An attack on the internet infrastructure so devastating that the cabal will justify everything you described. Now, the AI is clever. Watch for the AI. To make everything about protecting people, protecting children.
Going back to this, what about 2032? What could that year mean? Why no further plans?
It could simply mean the agenda is complete. It could mean after that date, the nanotech has been fully activated, humans and machine have merged, Obsidian is totally in place, the world's population has been reduced, world government is in place, and all forms of resistance have been squashed. It could mean the plan is complete. It could mean the cabal is finished. But I do not know. I am speculating. It could also mean many other things. It could mean major Earth changes will result in a transition of souls to the afterlife. By that I mean changes so severe billions will die. If that is the case, this entire agenda must have a purpose to trap us in this life before that transition, which is something Obsidian and the nanotech could easily do. Once trapped, we will also be trapped in the next life. The cabal could be rushing this agenda in the face of an Earth calamity they cannot even control. USDR also seems to play a role, because it seems it is being implemented in the Astral Earth too. Whatever USDR you have here, you will have there. The cabal here is very interested in that. That is why all of these cabalists are scrambling during the USDR acquisition phase, not to just have USDR here, but to have it after they die. The Astral Earth, again, is similar to our Earth. It just does not use or follow the same physics. There is no need for food, sex, money, anything. None. But it is in place anyway. Temptation still exists, possibly even more than here. Everything can be simulated, so they simulate a dystopian world. If you break the rules, there are consequences. Not death, but spiritual imprisonment. If you call out to Christ, your cries may not be heard at that point if you have already taken the mark.
I see. This information is overwhelming. I think I need to bring this to a close or take a break. I'm not disagreeing with any of it, quite the opposite. I agree with you completely. I just need to process it.
It is fine. Please do.
All right, one last question. One of our team members asked us why a couple of things have not been shared with our team yet. I know why. Please address that for them.
Yes, I would ask they email the team and ask the question. We will provide the answer. It has to do with a security issue.
Good. Okay, I'll give you the last word.
If there is a restricted or quarantined person reading this now who believes they can help us, please, do not hesitate to inquire. We do need more people, but we need the right people.
Thank you. God bless and be safe.
You as well. Good night.
If you benefit from these audio renditions of the Gideon Intel Drops, please like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to visit cbdcintel.org. Thanks.